We're here with Mark Latter, Chief Executive Officer for Guernsey. Mark, what's your role with the Guernsey Cricket Board?
Pretty all-encompassing at the moment, primarily from the top, looking after the employees, both the ground staff, the coaching staff, the mechanics of Guernsey Cricket, logistics of Guernsey Cricket, the finances, the what, when, the why. But I get involved in all sorts of things, as you do in a small organisation, trying to do lots of things.
What's been your main success over the past couple of years?
I think on the finance structure side, when we came into the associate world 2008-9, there's a lot of requirements upon you in terms of the compliance, governance, etc. And I think as an association, that was probably our loosest area. So we've tried to structure that using the assistance we get through Richard Hastie in the ICCE Europe office, and obviously through Dubai and the reporting mechanisms we have to do with the National Operating Plan, to really try and enforce upon people that money doesn't grow on trees, has to be spent wisely and properly, and also look at what we actually are spending the money on, and having a real root and branch conversation with ourselves in terms of, is this the right thing for now or for whenever.
How's cricket developing in Guernsey?
It's got a long history. I mean, the Guernsey Cricket Association, which forebeared the Guernsey Cricket Board, has been going since about 1927, so I mean cricket has been going for a goodly while. I think you can actually trace the earliest going back to about 1898 or something on the internet. So there's a history of cricket, which means that we've got something to build from, mostly rooted in social evening league cricket. Gradually that's obviously moved into the longer game, and we're trying to now look and focus on grass and 50 overs. And obviously the ICC world has changed that dramatically in terms of what we expect from people. Social game has to now upskill into a professional small P, and people have to learn that there's a lot more you have to give to cricket on and off the field to make it work.
How's your player pathway developing? We're here with the under 15s, but how have you been able to develop with a number of coaches on the island to create a pathway for them to get through to the national team?
I think that's been probably the key area, in as much as everything focused around the domestic cricket scene, whereas now we need to actually take those best players from wherever they currently are in the system in their age groups and make it very clear to them where we want them to go, and from our perspective how we're going to get them there. But as players move at different age groups, we've also got to make sure they've got somewhere to go, that they can come back into the system afterwards. So for our coaches, it's identifying the right people as early as possible and then working with them, from the teams and clubs and other people around the outside of Guernsey cricket, to try and upskill them as well, so they can look after the guys that fall by the wayside. Maybe their time wasn't quite right, but they will come back again, because as I say, players develop at different levels, and being the size we are, we obviously can't afford to miss anyone, because the player pool is, we're in the shallow end rather than the deep end all the time, so we need to make sure we get the most out of who we've got.
In terms of developing cricket, a lot of countries talk about we're slightly different, you know, it's growing cricket in different ways. What are the foundations of development that work in Guernsey, and could any countries learn from the ways that you've gone about developing the game?
I think we had a sort of rebrand with the Guernsey Cricket Board logo recently, and we've added the strapline pushing the boundaries. And I think what we've looked at there is basically, the easy thing for us to say is Guernsey 25 square miles, so we're too small, we'll never be able to compete with the big boys. But when we've been to ICC conference, etc., you speak with the Germans, the French, etc., and you think, well, that's lucky, they've got this huge great country and all these people to choose from. They actually end up spending most of their budget trying to get their players together. We actually can get them together very quickly. So we actually look at it from the perspective of, we know we've only got a finite resource, but therefore we shouldn't miss any of it. Therefore it's up to us to make sure that we get the most from that. So we try and push the boundary all the time. We don't look at the shore around Guernsey as being it. We can go beyond that, we can move beyond that, and we can use our size as a benefit. The facilities we've got in Guernsey, as you see behind us here, are fantastic. So we're very fortunate in that respect, because there's a concentration on what we can have. It doesn't get lost in the larger landscape. So I think, you know, you can easily say I can never do it because, but I think in some ways you can turn some of those negatives around and have a greater opportunity. We don't have to turn people onto cricket, they're already turned onto cricket in Guernsey. If you're in a country that isn't, well, don't try and turn the people onto cricket first, go to the people who already are there, your expat communities and everything else, and thereby you should be relatively successful.
We've talked about the player pathway being so important, but how important is competition opportunities like the under 15 Division 1 for you as a country?
I think from us and chatting with our coaches, it's massive. I think we do a huge amount from under 9s, preschools, we're in all the junior schools in Guernsey, etc. We do stuff then right through to 12s, 13s. We've got 13s away at the moment in the Sussex Arabian Arch tournament. We've been away to Bryanston School before that for a tournament. So we do all of that, but this is the first time they get a real taste of proper tournament cricket. 5 games, 6 days, no let-ups, no slip-ups. One bad day can be the end of your tournament. Plus, they're obviously living in and out of each other's hands. It all is a different experience, which will be good for them when they go into the senior cricket. And obviously, we want some of these guys to ultimately play for Guernsey in World Cricket League. So, for us, I think the 15s is probably the most important tournament in terms of the age group development in shaping where they might then go.